but I'll try and say this at the beginning of every meeting, and that I'm happy to pause it if anybody doesn't want something they're going to say or whatever to be seen publicly. There's such good value, though, in the whole thing going public. But I've become aware just last meeting that some people may feel a bit inhibited about what they reveal because of the group situation, not just because it's going to be recorded or it's being published publicly. So I do respect those things, although they might be definitely something worth working on if they do happen to come up. But I'll certainly respect them, and I'll certainly another thing that came to mind is that you could turn your camera off and you could change your name to anonymous or something like that if you wanted to, if that helps, but maybe it doesn't either. Maybe it just doesn't, I don't know. Anyway, they're all options that we've got available to us. I myself kind of don't feel inhibited with anything, you know, it's just, but that's me. That's just the way it is here. So I don't care what people think of me or what what comes out. Yeah. So more people might turn up, but let's get going anyway. Eh? Yeah. So how's things been for you, Lindy?
Yeah, pretty good towards the beginning of the week. Had a bad day, a particularly bad day one day during the week, but just a busy day yesterday. So I was trying to feel back into me really. But as you suggested, I haven't been efforting. I've just been sitting. Just sitting when I feel like sitting, really. But I definitely feel it's easier for me to get pulled away from this and back into the head and into the real world quite a lot. But I'm definitely not identifying as much. I mean, I can't say I'm not mind identifying, but there seems to be less of me and worry about, yeah, what I'm thinking, what I'm looking. What I look like when I'm out, what I say, all that kind of stuff. It's just so wonderful. So there's definitely, you know, a growing sense of freedom there, which is fantastic. Right. Some really difficult feelings coming up. Had a really sludgy day on Thursday, Thursday. But I'm just getting so much better at remembering to go in and down rather than up and out, really. So sometimes I could sit and, you know, I feel all the feelings and I can feel them change, move, and sometimes they float away. But there's definitely a big lump of lead down here, which doesn't seem to change at all. However long I sit with it, it's either there or it isn't there. So I guess it's just time, really. I just keep gently exploring, letting it be there, welcoming it as much as I can. Yeah. And who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things come to mind as you were talking there. I've used that phrase, the real world, myself, and I usually put it in quotes or have a smile when I say it, the real world. But one of the things that we are doing here is we're training ourselves to think and well, to think differently, to come from a different perspective. And training ourselves is not quite the right way to put it either, but anyway. So it occurs to me that, of course, what we call the real world is the unreal world. It's the world of thought, isn't it? The real world is the one that we're actually seeking, which is where we relate to what is actual rather than to concepts, which most of the world does. So Yeah. And because of the nature of language and the limitations of language, it's a good idea to develop, how can I put it, a rebuttal thought, or maybe something along those lines that says, just the idea that when I say the real world, I recognise that I'm not really talking about the real world. I'm talking about the world that is socially normal, kind of thing. I used to say, and it was an addition that I used to say when I spoke about anything like it was like I knew about it or it was definite. I used to just append to the end in brackets, or not. Da 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 da, or not. You know, but I didn't say that. I thought the or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as a way of reminding myself that, you know, nothing's for sure. It's, you know, everything's open to whatever possibilities. Yeah. And the other thing that comes to mind that you were talking about, I had a bad day. Well, I'll bet you didn't have a full day of bad. I'll bet you there were moments of good in that bad day as well. And so once again, we start to think in terms of whole days. And what we do is we pass over those momentary good spots, those little things that are quite, how can I put it, enlightened, if you like, those little moments of wisdom that turn up. We tend to ignore them and go, oh no, the day was shitty. It was the whole day was like that. But I bet you it wasn't. I bet you there were moments in that day where it wasn't like that, as well as all the other stuff that was like that. Yeah.
No, she's still polite. She probably meant she was leaving at 5:30. Yeah.
I think I'll just mute Tracy if that's where that's coming from. Yeah. Anyway, they're just thoughts that came up as you were saying that. And of course, you know, it happens, you know. Geez, I lost it today. I went outside and I saw the work that my wife had done in the garden, and I just lost it. I just got so frustrated, and my anger came up, and I just, oh, and I was nasty, you know. And of course, when I went and apologized about that, it was lame. it didn't count for much at all. Yeah. So it happens, you know, it happens that we lose it, we get lost, and so on and so on. That's not the issue. The issue is, how do we respond to that? You know, do I feel guilty about it happening? No. I could describe it as something I'm remorseful about, and therefore I could get into guilt. But that's not what happened. What came to mind was that the shaming, blaming, complaining, explaining thing that Penilla talks about in a brilliant way, that just came to mind, and so I just apologized. And when that apology wasn't accepted for where it was coming from, I just left it. That was it. I couldn't do anything about that. It's not my issue anymore, even though you could say I caused it. But I don't have control. You know, if I grovel and whip myself, is it going to make things better? I don't know. I'm not going to do it though. So, yeah, things happen. Shit happens to all of us. Yeah. So if you're expecting 100% purity or whatever, then get over it, because that ain't going to happen. And well, maybe it will happen for you, but it's never happened for me. Yeah.
No, I think it's just being more okay with what is as it happens is just
Yeah.
such a massive relief, really, which sometimes happens and sometimes doesn't. But there's definitely, I'd say, a more positive trend in that for me, really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a continual discovery, you know, and we think we're somewhere and then something happens and we realize we're somewhere else. Yeah. It just, that discovery stuff never stops. Yeah.
No.
I trot out all my shit for you guys. But I said something on a recent meeting about Eastern European Stoicism. And somebody said, what was that about? And as soon as they said that, I went, oh, Vince, I was being racist, you know, because what I had done, when my definition of racism is when you generalize a characteristic to a whole race of people, that's racist. And I was doing that. I was saying, yeah, all Europeans are, you know, all Eastern Europeans, and I don't even know what Eastern European is. I was saying they're all pretty stoic. Well, that's not true. Of course, it's not true. The moment I investigated, they're as they're as unique and individual as everybody else in the world, you know. So there I was saying this thing that was definitely racist. You know, I discovered that about myself after all this time. There it was. Eh? Am I going to try and not think like that anymore? No. But I'll be interested to see what's going to happen, whether that realization will cause that to change. I would hope it will, but it's just the way it is, eh? We discover things about ourselves all the time. There's no end to it. Yeah. Sky Leith. That's we call you Sky, we call you Leith.
Sky's good.
How are you? You're a new face for me, or have I seen you before and forgotten it?
No, this is the first time.
Oh, great. Yeah. Tell us where you're up to on this journey.
Thank you, Vince. Hey, everybody. I've been, hello. I've been looking at some of your videos and resonated with the group and the energy. Well, I'll just tell you my story. I had a very distinct experience of the emptiness of the self about 7 years ago. Only lasted a few seconds, but it was profound and changed me radically. I had been going through some really tough time at work, and so I was just poking around the internet for some answers. I've been just to back up, a long time seeker for 40 plus years, and I stumbled on a non-duality speaker, and spoke to a friend that led me to LU. I got a guide, and he led me to that experience. And my outlook changed on what life is, and it wasn't all pleasant. It was the biggest shift was I just completely lost any ambition to do anything. And I'm an artist, and I had my art had always been connected to trying to make a living from it. And that just completely went away. I couldn't go to that anymore. But the overriding feeling was just something was so different about the way that I saw the world.
But would you describe that as a nihilistic state or an existential black hole state?
It was sort of a deadening. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I could still function fine and went to work, and I have a family, but since that time, I've still been seeking strongly.
So how long
to-
ago was that? Did that happen to you?
I'm sorry,
How long ago did that happen?
7 years.
Oh, so you went through LU and got into that space 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And for 7 years you've been seeking to try and get out of it?
No, not to try to get out. I wouldn't go back.
Mm.
It was so clear to me that there is no one here.
Mm-hmm.
My behavior and my suffering is still connected to that old way of seeing. And so I've just been very strongly, hoping the next book or the next video or the next speaker would shift things over. And just in the past, I don't know, 6 months or so, I've gotten sort of desperate with it. And, all's well. I can't complain, but I still get caught in the belief that, other people are doing things to me and that I don't want, and identifying strongly with the old person that I seem to have been.
Yep. Sure there, yeah. So when you went through LU 7 years ago or more recent? Yeah, then, yeah.
That was 7 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that shift you've talked about that happened, that profound shift that lasted just seconds, was that when you went through LU, or was that separate to that?
That was just after.
Just after that, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if I ask you to describe how life is today, it would be somewhat like you just described?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of, in a way, just sort of a loss for the zest of life, I guess, in a way.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, I enjoy friends and, taking a walk in the woods with my dog, and
Yeah.
but there's just been sort of I don't know. I'm having trouble putting
I
into
get it.
words.
I get it. Yeah.
May I come into the conversation,
Of course.
please?
Yes.
Sky, how does that loss of your sense for your life, can you connect to the feeling tone, sensation in the body? Because it seems like you're describing something that is like, it's like a feeling tone that you're living with of that loss.
Mhm.
And have you explored being with that feeling tone of loss in your body?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Rowena, because it seems like sadness sort of in the body. And I forgot to mention that over the past maybe year or so, I've had a strong feeling of sadness come up in the body. And about weekly, oddly, on a Saturday or on a Sunday or a Monday, I'll feel a strong urge to cry, and I'll, it's very, it's like some sort of deep thing, I don't know, from the past or whatever coming up. And I'll get down on my knees on the couch and just let it go and just cry for 5 or 10 minutes, and that relieves it, But it's a feeling in the chest. I mean, sort of feeling a little bit now, just sort of talking about it, in the chest, in the head, sort of, I don't know how to say it. Just, it's not depression, but it's some sort of sadness that comes up strongly. Yeah.
It's very familiar what you're describing.
Okay.
And how would it be to remove the label of sadness?
Mm.
And also, of course, tears flow, which is beautiful, but not with the intention of relieving it, but discovering more what it is as a pure expression of body with no labels, without even labeling it as feeling tone, just to go deeper
Mhm.
into that.
Mhm. I mean, I've been toying with that, just sort of asking what it is, what that's trying to show me.
Without even asking what it is. It's funny, I even, even though there's a knowing there is no I and there's no me, I started doing a little practice on this idea of feeling tone, waking up in the morning, and then I was doing an exercise, and I just sort of said, okay, me, and I just was working on the me, I wasn't looking to see if there wasn't a me, but I just allowed me to show the state of the feeling. I use this thing, feeling tone, and that was the portal into just being in this space of without label, but with a label that you could say of sadness, and there was just allowing it, and a lot of softness is with it, and it's just a beautiful welcoming, but not understanding, because it's beyond a possibility. There's no reason, it's just somehow, yeah, it's just there, and it can change, but it's a beautiful exploration in a very gentle way.
Thank you. I'll
Do
play
you,
with that.
do you find it intriguing that it seems to come up on the same days of the week? I do.
Well, it could, I mean, I've had this idea that it is related to not wanting to go to school
Yeah.
as a kid. And now it's like not wanting to go to work.
Mm.
So it's like continued.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hated school so much. And it
So
was,
why did you hate school? What was the,
well, I was a little skinny, sensitive kid, and
yeah,
didn't fit in. I grew up in the southern United States and didn't fit in with the culture there. And I was an artist, and
yep. So you felt alone at school, abandoned at school.
yeah, I didn't want to be there, and it was really,
Sure. Yeah.
really rough.
I can relate to that one. Yeah, absolutely.
So it could be that's,
Could be, yeah.
Sunday was tainted because I had to go to school the next day.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
As
and
Rowena
maybe
said,
that's-
though, we don't really need to know the details of what is going on there. Just the fact that something is going on is enough. Yeah. So what comes to mind for me is how do you respond to that? What is your overriding feeling towards that? Or if I'm more direct, I would say, how big is the wish that it was different?
I, the feeling or the feeling, wishing that the
Yes,
feeling
that whole experience that you have on those days,
Mhm.
how much do you not want it to be there? Right? Now, what is the details of your feelings about it being there? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Mhm. There's not a pushing away of it.
Right, right. That's big. Yeah, yeah.
There's sort of a beauty and a richness in it,
Yes.
in a way.
Yep.
Um,
Could you say sweetness? Is there a sweetness in it?
yeah, I mean, I'm feeling it right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that says that it's not grief, it's sadness, which is has that sweetness in it, and the beauty of that is that we're not swallowed up by stories about it. We're just willingly accepting the experience as it comes up. Hey, that's beautiful. I love that. That's really good. Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I don't want is to go to work.
Yeah.
And
I get that.
sort of reminds me of that whole thing. And you
Right.
know,
So you're not an artist at work. You're only an artist at home, are you?
well, I work in advertising, so I'm in a creative field, but
But not
it's
really creative. Just
yeah, it's sort of cranking it out.
yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
Sky, it seems to me that I don't want to go to work, that what are what does that that thought, where does that lead in the body
Mm.
as far as what the body's sensing? Because it's a different sense. It would be a different, that would be a different sensations coming forth from the body, it would seem to me. Have you explored that?
I haven't, and I will. That's a really great point.
Because
And
it's a very
different things.
much more strong resistance. And it could be it could be a relation of being an overlay, you know, of a thinking process. And so like each little layer of the onion, whatever's present can be looked at and say, oh, what's that pointing to? And not saying, oh, come on, you can go to work, or come on, you can do this, or, you know, just like, okay, really getting into, I don't want to go to work, and it might lead you back into the sadness, but there's a shift.
I'll explore that. Thank you.
Would you say that, tiredness, lack of energy, lack of motivation, lack of that feeling, does that only there then, or is that with you all the time?
It's sort of with me all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, I'll have an idea about some project that I want to do, some artistic project. For instance, I wanted to do a thing with the community, a lantern walk.
Yeah.
Everyone gets together and makes paper lanterns and walks down by the river. And I have this initial surge of, you know, creativity around it. And then it just dies on the vine. And then I completely lose interest.
Yes. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
that suggests to me that your energy is tied up, and that's going to be a contraction, a body no kind of thing, and that's resistance. Body no, as in I don't want, you know.
okay.
When you were enthusiastic with the first idea of that lantern walk happened to you, you know, that's a body. Yes, there's an opening and a great thing, and then as it dies, you come in and in and in and in and in, and then you tie up again, you know. So that resistance is where all your energy's gone, you know. Your energy is tied up, is used up in resisting something, whatever it is. And again, we're not particularly concerned in finding out what it is, just knowing that there is something there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea comes to mind that may or may not be accurate, that beautiful crying, allowing yourself to feel the depth and let it out, that relief that comes from that is very much something. I don't know what it is, yeah, but yeah, it's got to do with the exhaustion of resisting, and it's kind of a way of letting it happen, letting it out for a moment. Yeah, relief, just enough to keep you going, even though it's hard work to keep going. Yeah.
One thing that's coming up for me is curiosity about whether there's what the motivation behind this paper lantern idea is. For example, is there a particular outcome that you might be looking for by doing that?
I think there's multi-layered thanks for asking that, because I've thought about that. It's part of it is definitely me wanting the world to see my creativity. Part of it is it's an old thing of wanting to make a living from my creativity, because the organization that I wanted to do this event with, I was hoping that one day I might be able to work for them, because I love their mission is doing art with kids in nature. And so there's still that wanting to have my source of support, financial support, be through creative work that I love, that I want to do, not that I'm being forced to do.
Mm.
So there's that. And just wanting to express. That's the third thing, I guess. Just wanting to express who I am. You know, I have an ability there that's not being used, and it feels like a real loss that I can't use it.
If you were to, let's say that the paper lantern walk happened,
Hmm.
and people didn't see your creativity, they didn't appreciate it, you didn't get any recognition, it didn't move you any closer to working with this organization, and everything still feels the same and is the same, would you still want to do it?
If I could garner the energy to make it happen and do it, I wouldn't care if I got recognition. I would, you know, I would almost, in some ways, I would sort of shun the recognition. I don't want to be known for it. I just want to engage in it, and I want to create. Yeah. What I just wanted to understand what you're getting at, Jeremy.
It's a great question. I think it was the sense of whether there was a particular like belief in a future reward that
Yeah.
that yourself would be improved by, or like an assumption of predicting the future, controlling what might happen, that if I do this, then this will happen, and that will be good for me, and then I'll be better, I'll feel
It's
better,
definitely,
and my problems will
yeah,
go away.
that's definitely in the mix. It's definitely in the mix. Just how
What came up for me as when you asked that question, Jeremy, I was thinking, yes, this is good, because are we looking to, is the value in the actual walk, the lantern walk, is the value as something to beget a future reward, or is the value in an expression? And I've come to the conclusion by your answer, Sky, that it's the value is in the expression of what you are expressing. I just look, this sounds really wishy-washy, but I just get this feeling that you're just so full of love that you want to share, and it's not happening. That's my feeling.
Thanks everyone for being here with me. When I stumbled on your group meetings, the videos, I sensed a belonging, so thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here. I really am. Another thought comes up that we've poked the bear, we've stirred things up, and things will happen for you. And we won't pursue it right now because we need to allow integration to happen. Yeah. What comes to mind for me is something I have mentioned in this group some time ago. Was I do remember as a kid, I don't know how old I was probably, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe I was 13 or something like that. And I said to my mother, I said that a mistake had been made. I was never meant to be born into this world. The world I was meant to be born into, everybody loves each other and it's good feelings all around, and everybody works at what they want to work at, not what they have to work at. It was like, I felt like I was an alien in this society. And that's what you've engendered for me now, is a memory of that. That's come up because I feel that's maybe the way it is for you too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that world does exist. It's not so obvious. We have to find it, but it's there. It is there. It's here, rather than there. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
So in a way, a similar journey for me, when I had, there was a gradual first awakening, and then there was, I think even prior, the things to the glimpses before, but there was a gradual, like my motivation's gone, and to do things, although I mean, I was doing artistic things, but I wasn't making my living from it. And then all of a sudden it's like the motivation did go, and motivation for a lot of things. And people, you know, because other people were saying, oh, we should do this, you should do that. And there was also like, well, why can't I be like that anymore? And I sort of realized that my motivation had been so outward directed by, in a way, thought and imagination. And that it wasn't even, I didn't even think that in the end, well, that wasn't what was wanted to come from here in a way. And so I really have lived in that, you know, that, as it were, feeling tone world. And what Vince said, it really touched me enormously, because it's like it's a change. It's like I see it this, but it takes time because of the denseness of the body, as a whole organizational shift of creative self-expression or creative love expression, and it's the process. Yeah, I mean, so thank you, Sky, and thank you, Vince. That really was like a close hit here.
Yeah, we tend to think that we're conditioned to operate at a really gross level. It's superficial and it's gross, and we miss, I don't know how to say it. But all that really gross, rough, superficial stuff, it contains the beauty and the creativity and the love that we're looking for, but we have to find it in there. It's hidden, you know. It's like but it is there, you know. So even going to work and doing that production stuff that you're forced to do, inside that is the opportunity for creativity and expression. I feel, is a big one for you. You need to express yourself, and there is opportunity there. But when you go in with, oh, I don't want to be here, it's hard to see. Yeah. One of the things you will come to is welcoming, you know, the shit that turns up as an opportunity to work on stuff, to discover stuff. But I mean, that might be a little way off just yet, but yeah, it'll come. Yeah.
Thank you.
How are you, Rebecca? How's things been for you?
Well, things have been interesting, and there is something I want to talk about. I think last time I was here, although my sense of time is a little strange, I was talking about wanting to feel into a base level of contraction or fear, and I always thought that my relative inability to sleep was somehow in there, that it wasn't safe to sleep. And it was, it's been really interesting. I was listening to Pernilla's meditations on wanting. And I was thinking, why is she talking about truffles and yachts? I don't want truffles and yachts. I don't want a new job. I just want to wake up, and then I want to go to sleep. And somehow she got me over that last little that last little hump of that my safety has nothing to do with my story, nothing at all. And things started to happen I started responding to things differently, like walking out in the woods with my dog without the prickle of fear behind me, just which has never happened before, ever. And I didn't even expect it. I was just walking along and said, wait a minute, I'm not scared of anything. And my responses to things are different. That doesn't matter. But anyway, so it was thought that if I could feel into that fear, that then I would be able to sleep. And it's not true. I still can't sleep. And it's 6 o'clock here and I've been up for 2 hours. And I lie there and I can't seem to get any, I can't seem to, I do this. Maybe it's a habit. Okay, here I am. I'm awake. I'm bored. I'm scared of tomorrow. I'll just lie here and I'll say, what is this? What is this? And I'll just be with what it is. And I'm bored and I'm scared of tomorrow. And I don't know where to go with that. I don't know where to go with it. I still think that there's a kind of a base layer of relaxation that didn't happen. But I don't know what to do at the time, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the habit.
Yeah. If you were to be stuck with that for the rest of your life, and if it was never going to change, could you live with it?
Well, I'd have to live with it, wouldn't I?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not going to kill myself over it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it was actually that question that Pranilla asked that got me over the fear. It's like,
Right.
yes, obviously, but it doesn't work with sleep.
Mm.
I can live with it, but I hate it. It's boring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting one. Fear is an interesting thing.
Mm. Yeah, it's my basic starting point. That much I know.
And of course, the natural reaction to it is to get away from it. You don't want it.
Unpleasant, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
But when I'm trying to sleep, I'm not afraid at all. I can't feel it at all.
Right.
All I get is a feeling of unrest.
Do you go to sleep of a night easily and then wake up early, or do you?
Yeah.
Go to sleep?
Yeah, I can't stay asleep. Yeah.
Yes. So you go to sleep, but then you wake up. And when you wake up, as you're waking up, are you aware of that fear?
No, I'm not aware of fear at all.
Okay, that's was and now isn't, or never was.
No, I never was. When I was not aware of fear. It was just a hypothesis that since that's my starting point, that's probably what's the matter. But I don't feel fear when I'm trying to sleep. I just feel bored and unhappy.
Right. Yeah, so first thing that comes to mind for me is never use the word fear again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah. If it comes to mind to use it, of course we don't control our thoughts. So if it comes to mind, recognize that it's a label, and that's an invitation for you to look at what it actually is. What is it? So what are the sensations? Where are they? What do they feel like? And what are the stories that are attached to it? What are the stories that arise and come along and hook on to those sensations?
And that is what I do. So I go to the sensations. Well, I have a little bit of a headache and a little tension in my shoulders, and sometimes I tense it more, see what will happen. Nothing happens.
Okay.
And as far as stories, thoughts, I don't have stories except that, oh, this again. That's the story. Oh, this again.
Oh, there'll be other stories, but they may be at a deeper level, a layer underneath those stories, right? That
So
like,
how do I get to them?
okay. Yeah, don't be too concerned about them, about that. Know that it's like your shadow. No matter how fast you run, it'll always be there. Right? So you can't run away from it. You can't force it to go away. You can't turn around and hit it and make it go away, because like your shadow, it has no substance.
Yeah.
And of course, we want it to not be there. We want it to be different. But a good technique is to not allow those things to become the driving force to anything, right? So although you might want it to be different, you flick that away and you invite what is happening to be present. Because you know, whatever it is, no matter how it feels, how unpleasant it is your best solution at the moment.
Yes. Solution to what?
It is your body, your being, your body, mind, looking after you as best it can. That's what it is, even though it's pleasant.
Yeah.
Because it imagines something much worse if it's not there.
I get that.
Yeah. So the only way that we're going to get rid of it is to welcome it, invite it, and bring it in and love it. And it will go away as a result of that. You cannot make it go away. No matter how much you want it to, no matter what you do, you can't make it go away. In fact, the more effort you put into it, the stronger it gets.
Mhm.
Mm.
I guess the question is, what's the it?
That doesn't matter. That's the diversion. That's your mind. That's your mind tricking you
Okay.
into escaping, right? So any why question, any how question that turns up, they're diversions. Flick them away. Don't go down that rabbit hole. That's just your mind. It'll promise you satisfaction if you do go down that rabbit hole, but it can never deliver.
Just is questions, or not questions at all.
Just, yeah, if any question, just what. But as I say that, no matter what comes up is what comes up. So we're ideally we're accepting of whatever comes up. But we have in the back of our mind that we won't follow a why or a how question anywhere. Just come back to what is, which is what you're doing. Just describing the sensation, where it is in the body, and so on. But what extra you can bring to that is to love it, to accept it and give it love. Right? It is looking after you. It has your best interest at heart. Even though it seems like it's not, it is.
Just stay with that. Yeah. I just realized I have a story. Well, I've been doing this for 40 years. What is the likelihood that it's going to change?
Right. So there's a lot of habit involved, a lot of conditioning and a lot of habit.
Yeah.
Habit's another good thing, you know. I mean, habit's how we can tie our shoelaces without thinking about it, and how we can do our shirt buttons up without having to focus on it. That's habit. It's a great labor-saving thing we've got as humans, habit. But at the same time, they can be maladaptive as well, and this particular habit is. So again, you welcome it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a way.
Yeah.
And Rebecca, sorry, Vince.
Go on.
Just completely, just adding on to what Vince is saying, is to ask the question to yourself, like, can I get deeper into the sensation? Because there's a difference between the subtle difference between the full, pure, direct experience of sensing where body disappears and there's only sensation. There's just the sensate field, and then it's a very different experience compared with watching the sensations move in the body. It's like there's an absorption, and then everything changes, even if it's only for a moment, and then you can go back to another sense, or a sense of the rubbing the hands, or more external. But so the question, can I get deeper? Can I get more intimate with these sensations? It is can change the experience of having to, oh gosh, I'm awake. I got to do what sensing is in the body. And then there's the extra, okay, how deep can I go?
And I have a story that, oh, if I could just do that, it would all be fine. I've been telling myself that for years. This is just a story.
And boredom's another one that's really interesting. Yeah, with boredom on the surface seems like it's a lack of activity, but in fact it's the opposite. Boredom is really, really busy, and it's
and it's propelling me to get up. It's movement. It's
yeah.
My problem, I think I know too much.
The other thing with sleeping, I don't know if you stay horizontal, but mind energy, it's very yang energy. And when it's horizontal, it's sort of like it can't move out. So if you prop yourself up with some pillows, even for a little while, that allows the energy to move more easily.
Really? Is that your experience? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, it's like the mental energy is electromagnetic, the electro part of the, and the feeling is more the magnetic. And so you'll just stay bobbing along. And then whereas at 45 degrees or just a little bit, it can relieve that, the energetic, because it's very energetic feeling. I mean, I imagine.
I'll try that.
And then when you start feeling a little bit more sleepy, then you can throw off a pillow or just fall back to sleep, but not flat.
If I do get to feeling more sleepy.
If you do, and if not, you just dive into, the sensations.
Yeah, I know what to do. Just stuck. But we'll see. I think adding in the mystery of how it's in my best interest might be really useful.
Yeah. Don't get lost in efforting though. Don't get lost in trying to do something with an end result in mind.
No, I'm capable of just dropping it in and seeing where the ripples will go.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Rebecca, there's a few, I guess, maybe assumptions or questions behind this question. Roughly how much sleep is it regular that you wake up around 4 a.m. and then can't get back to sleep, or does it happen throughout the night at random times on different days?
Oh, it's relatively regular that I'll sleep for 5 hours and then wake up.
And then do you feel tired throughout the day?
Yes.
Or take naps?
Exhausted. I feel tired. I lose my motivation. I don't feel like dealing with anybody, and I do fall asleep at random.
When you stop, if you were still during the day, would you go to sleep? Would you nod off?
Often, yeah.
Yeah. Do
Yeah, I'll be
you
reading.
do
I'll
you
be reading mostly.
Sorry.
I'll be reading and fall asleep.
Yeah. Do you intentionally have a sleep during the day?
I don't set out to have a nap, but I know that when I lie down on the couch with my book, I will very likely be able to have one.
For an hour, half an hour or more?
10, 15 minutes.
Okay, just a short one, yeah.
It'll just take me over, but then I feel much better after that. It does something.
So you do that on the couch. So you're laying on your back. Do you turn onto your side?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes.
Right.
Do you have really, we're talking about stories, beliefs related to this. Do you have a story that you believe in that says I'm supposed to get all my sleep in one shot at night and I should feel rested for a whole day after that?
Yeah, my story is, oh boy, when I get 8 hours of sleep, do I ever feel good?
But that never happens, eh?
Every now and then it does, just enough to keep me going
Right.
once a month or so.
Mm.
When
Do you remember
you,
your dreams?
But
Do you remember your dreams?
on the long nights I do, the short ones I don't.
Would you say you miss out on that deep sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah. But dreams don't happen in the deep sleep. They happen before then, eh?
They happen after. I think my dreams happen, the ones I remember happen in the end of the night, and they're because I have the luxury of dreaming rather than struggling to go under.
Mm.
when you woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, were you tired after that? Are you tired right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be more tired later. When the sun comes up, I will suddenly become very tired.
Do you have a story that tells you that or I should say, would you be able to go back to sleep after the sun comes up and you feel tired again?
Not on purpose, not in my bed. Maybe on the couch.
Maybe the reason why any of this is coming up in my head is I've been practicing asking my body what it needs throughout the day. Is it tired and does it need rest? Does it need sleep? Does it need to move? And instead of trying to do what my habits tell me I'm supposed to be doing, or what I think I'm supposed to be doing, or what society tells me my schedule is supposed to be, just regularly asking my body and not trying to answer it in my head, but like Vince was saying, a body yes or body no. Like, do you want a nap? And it's like there's an openness and an expansion. It's like, all right, I guess it's 10 a.m. and I don't have any responsibilities right now. I'll take a nap and I'll wake up when my body wakes up.
The wonderful thing about
Yeah.
being 80 years old is that I have an infinite amount of time to do that. I can just body yes, body no all day, and it's nothing I'm supposed to be doing.
Do you have moments when you have a body yes to taking a nap, but you feel
Yes,
some
when
resistance to doing that?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. You know, I'm on the couch with my wife. I'm doing my life. I say, oh, I'm really tired. I'm gonna lie down, take a break, and I lie down with my book, and then this wonderful. Oh yes, I think I could get a nap. Let's just let that take over, and then I go to sleep. I don't have any resistance to that gradual takeover. There's something about being in my bed and wanting to sleep that means that I can't. It's like it has to sneak up on me. And then it's just wonderful. So okay, when my head is in the way, I can't sleep. And when my head is not in the way, I can. Except it is not about thinking. I'm never thinking. When I'm waking up, you know, a lot of people say they're just worrying about things. I'm not thinking at all. There's really no thoughts at all. I'm certainly not worrying, except about sleep.
There's one more discovery about about what does tiredness feel like in the body? What are the sensations? And with when there is that waking up and the tiredness and the you know, the thoughts about the tiredness, it's like, okay, just being like for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, just sitting with the sensations that cause us to label them as being tired, and then all the stories attached to I didn't get enough sleep or this and that. Just the pure body sensation, and that's another little avenue that
Yeah.
can be very rewarding.
Yeah, that's good. I can do that during the day. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I have avoided that.
Because we can almost assume like that we're tired. It's just because of familiar sensations, but then there's a complexity of the sensation and the being with it. Everything sort of shifts. And that assumption is like, oh, well, maybe I wasn't tired after all. I mean, you did, the whole thing is to not pay attention to the mental chatter.
Or the label.
About it. And maybe it stays, maybe it doesn't, but it's an avenue of discovery.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's something I haven't done much of. Yeah, there is a resistance to tiredness that's in the way.
Do you ever feel tired and you feel like you could drop off, and then the next thing you find that you're busy doing something, you're engrossed in some activity, and then you realize that at that point you're not tired at all, even though you were a moment ago?
No, I'm pretty much just a body. If I don't have energy, I don't have energy.
And it stays. It doesn't change.
Yeah. Yeah.
It comes to mind that it might be interesting to consider the changes, the subtle changes in terms of how tired you feel, or even what part of the body feels most tired, and then compare that to, you know, a couple of minutes away at further on, and see if it's the same or if it's shifted slightly. But we're talking about subtle levels, not just that gross level of you know, I am tired. But when you think I am tired, consider how tired I am and in what way am I tired. And then next time the thought comes up, compare the two and see if they're the same or different. How they will definitely be different, but in what way, how much, and so on.
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, I'm getting some other avenues here.
I wonder, Rebecca, when you're lying in that space, when you awaken, have you looked at what's there? Does it feel like there's an undercurrent running? Like what are the features of that space? Does it feel like you are inhabiting a body in a room, lying on a bed? And what else is there?
What do you mean? What else is there?
If you are aware and you know that there's a desire for sleep and sleep is not happening, what else can you identify about that experience?
What it mostly feels like is just uneasiness, not rightness.
Do you feel like you're there existing in a space?
I'm not aware of the space. I'm just,
So are you aware of an experiencer, a presence?
you mean like a witness?
Do you feel an energetic movement?
I'm not sure where you're going. I'm not relating to.
What sort of a tone does the experience have in the background?
Of unpleasantness, of uneasiness, of um, disgust, maybe, or just that sense
So-
of.
So you awaken at night and there's a sense of disgust.
It's too strong a word, but it's like, oh my God.
So something is running in the background though.
Yeah, something must be running in the background. Yeah, and
What can you say about that?
I tell you, I've spent 40 years trying to figure out what it was. I mean, trying to experience it, trying to feel into it, and I don't seem to be able to do it right now.
Does it feel like a vibration? Does it feel erratic?
No, feels like a constant drone.
Is it there in the daytime?
It's different because in the daytime I'm distracted. It's no, I think the tiredness is a whole different thing.
So when there are no distractions, that energy comes to the fore.
At night.
Your attention can't avoid it.
At night, yeah.
And does it have content to it? Any
Doesn't have
idea?
Doesn't have content other than the story about how I'm not sleeping again. There's no other content to it.
You don't identify features.
What do you mean
Does it ever become formulated in, say, dream content?
No.
But it prevents you from sleeping.
Mhm.
That's interesting. That one, that idea that something prevents you from sleeping.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I like the running in the background idea.
So that feels much more tangible to you than to say nothing is inviting me to sleep.
Right.
I notice that sometimes when I'm in that space, when I awaken like that, it just feels like I am in a kind of flowing content that, like, if attention catches a piece of that, that's what a dream can get woven out of. But it's like to me, it feels like a lot of content is sort of roiling under the surface. And then when the mind comes to a calm, like that kind of primal content that's usually outside our conscious awareness, we're closer to it.
If,
And if there's
if content can be formless, that sounds true.
why does it have to be formless?
Because I'm not aware of any forms, just because it's not, it doesn't.
But But if it was formless, would it be disturbing or problematic? Could it? I don't know if it could be content if it was formless.
I think we're getting into words, and we
I mean,
can't
if
follow.
the form, but if the form is outside your awareness, it could. I mean, there has to be form. There's more form than what we're aware of.
And so, I mean, this is all words.
When your executive function is kind of offline and out of the way, can it be that you're closer to what is there?
Oh yeah, closer, but there's a screen in the way, something in the way. Definitely, I mean, it's very real.
If there's an it, as David was saying, it's already been made into, even if we don't know what, but we've already collapsed it into sort of a thing, a content, and yeah,
I have an idea that there's a thing there, and maybe there's no thing there at all. It's just an idea. That there must be some terrible undercurrent running underneath. That's just a thought.
Yeah, it's asking you to get closer into whatever it is, so that there's the absorption of into the sensation.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is there, bringing attention to it. I mean, what is happening with your attention if it's not on what's there?
It is on what's there. It is on what's there. I'm just completely open to what's there. And what's there is a feeling of unease and of rejecting this state of being. Objecting to reality.
Did you say objecting or rejecting?
Objecting to reality by rejecting my state of being, wanting it to be otherwise. Which during the daytime, I don't do.
Every time we use a label, every time we call it something, we are actually creating form.
Mm-hmm.
It's formless form sometimes, but it's still form. So maybe a good exercise for you is to, like I said, don't use the word fear. In fact, any label that comes up, instead of using the label, use the label coming up as a trigger to dismiss the label and try and describe what the label is encompassing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we just move down a level. Instead of saying there is this thing that's stopping me sleeping, we'd start to describe what the experience is without calling it anything.
Yeah, it's what I do try to do. But I think I've got something to work with now. I think
All right.
that it's doing something for me.
It's all just discovery. So see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go to the next step next time, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm up.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. How's things been for you, Duncan?
Hey Vince, hey everybody. I'm okay, mate. My homework for the last few weeks has been to wallow in hopelessness because not unlike a lot of seekers, I keep looking, as Sky said, keep looking for that next video or that next course or that next energy work technique or whatever that's gonna flick a switch somehow and make it all easy. And this morning, though, I had prearranged to help a friend who's getting certified in holotropic breath work, and I did that. And it's the third time I've done it, and I've never felt anything from it. And frustration's creeping in because the people around me have these quite emphatic breakthroughs and drop all their childhood trauma in one session. And I'm like, I didn't feel anything. And this, I'm naturally skeptic, and coming into this seeking, and it's been a real challenge for me to put down that armor. I don't know where it came from. Maybe I was somebody played a lot of tricks on me as a kid or something, but I experienced a lot of skepticism and self-doubt. Oh, look, it's not going to happen for me. I can't even have an experience doing holotropic breath work or energy work or hypnotism or whatever the thing you try. I think I've tried quite a few things to have some kind of a energetic breakthrough, I guess is the word I want to use, where everything seems a bit lighter and easier. And oh, look, I put something down, or I've made some progress here. So that was my morning. So I wasn't exactly wallowing in hopelessness. I was trying to get something. So I'm going to have to go back and do my homework.
Well, you failed, so you're hopeless again, aren't you?
There's hope in hopelessness, yeah.
Yeah. And what do you imagine would be a great outcome from wallowing in hopelessness?
Somehow to internalize this, to stop seeking outside of myself to somebody else that's going to give me the answers. And there's going to be an easy, like I said,
That sounds
flick
like
of the switch
hope.
moment.
That sounds like hope, not hopelessness.
Yeah, like I said, there's hope and hopelessness. But instead of expecting some other book or technique or whatever, I accept this as it is, and it's not going to get any better. And then from there, who knows? Drop the expectations, try and smell the flowers as you go.
Hmm. So you're only half-assed doing the hopelessness thing. You've still got hope going on in the middle of it.
I don't know how far to take
Hope that hopelessness
hopelessness.
is going to do something for you.
Yeah. I don't know how far to take it with the
Totally
seeking,
hopeless.
and
Totally hopeless.
I'm trying to. Sorry.
Totally hopeless. Totally.
Well, I'm still feeling that I have some control, even though conceptually I can get it that I don't, and I can sit and watch myself not have control, but I just haven't had that insight. So I've got a lot of things coming up. My job will be dissolved this year, later this year. Not an urgent thing. I'm supposed to be getting evicted from my house, but I may have a stay there. So I'm like, I'm still feeling that I have to control these outcomes. And hopelessness feels like no, just letting it, sitting down in the middle of it and not putting any effort in whatsoever, and kind of examining the outcome of that, which is just against nature.
Oh, no, not nature. Nature never hopes for anything, does it? Does nature ever work at anything? Do you think a tree
Our
ever
nature,
will
my nature.
grow?
No.
Well,
And interesting listening to people talk about their body sensations. I was going to ask the question. I've had a lot of sensations over the last few weeks in the chest and in the head area, tingling and heaviness and there's some less than friendly thoughts arising, and I'm like, okay, they're just thoughts. You don't need to buy into that. But the sensation feels like it's kind of trapping me in there. No, you have to stay in the shark tank with these thoughts. Even though I know how to meditate, I know how to leave them alone for a while. And so maybe there's some unconscious kind of stress or anxiety. I don't really feel it. I'm not acknowledging that I'm stressed or have anxiety at the moment. I feel okay, but there's definitely things going on in my body that don't normally happen.
so what are these they're new sensations, that come up? It's only happening for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go to a doctor and have a chat just to be
But
safe,
that's a
because
good
I'm
idea.
at that age.
Yeah. But it's unlikely that he's going to find a physical reason for them. So what
No.
would be your conclusion then? Just follow the fantasy that he finds nothing wrong with you. That will mean what? First thing that comes to mind.
I'm gonna say stress, but I don't feel stressed. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'm sleeping fine. I'm
Yeah.
relatively happy.
Yeah. We all cope with that kind of stuff in our own way. So that's not to say it is stress, and of course, if it is stress, then we need to look at what that is and get rid of the label and look at what's underneath it, and then it's a different thing. But would you say that these new sensations are trying to tell you something? Whether it has a physical component or not, doesn't matter. That still can do the same thing.
I really don't know.
Right. Well, that's good. That's a good place to be. I don't know. And can you go the next step and say, I don't have to know? It's okay not to know?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Ramis has
Can I ask something?
hand
Because
up.
you said that you were doing a lot of techniques and books, and that you wanted like a kind of breakthrough or waiting something. And I was wondering, what is your point of reference to judge your advancement in your process?
A few years ago, I had a horrifically stressful time. It was the middle of COVID. We were pretty locked down here, working online, isolated, and I got an incorrect email that I owed a ridiculous amount of money and might be in trouble. And there was a breakup and everything was just, you know, crumbling. It was shit. And somewhere in the middle of this horrifically stressful period where I'm trying to, my brain was just like in fifth gear, trying to seek solutions. The whole lot just went away and there's no resistance whatsoever. And Duncan just kind of left the building and there's just gratitude for it all. And it lasted about 24 hours and had a hard landing.
So
that's the kind of place I've been trying to get back to. Yeah.
So if I understand, you want to you are comparing your next future breakthrough with the memory you have or something with the past.
Yeah, it's my understanding that that was kind of the default state, and that I should be trying to get rid of conditioning to go back to that state or to abide in that state.
Can you see that when something happened in your life, you are comparing with something with a memory? I'm not saying that this event didn't happen, but now it's a memory for you, right? So now, if anything happened, you will try to compare with a memory.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
So the memory of this event is not the event.
You guys are going to kill me. I've heard that if you can kind of isolate these glimpses and kind of recreate them and sink into them, this will potentially bring them back to the fore of your experience.
Does it have work for you? Is what you are saying right now?
No, it doesn't work
but we'll
for
try
me.
again, right? But we'll try again, right?
Well, I'm kind of throwing the kitchen sink. I at it, trying to see what works.
Yeah, see what works, but at some point, all of the techniques, the real gift is to see that it doesn't work. This is the really, like, the gift they have for you is like it doesn't work, and if you can add to the mix that when you try to find where you are in your process, you are already in imagination, because you're already in memory.
Right.
You know, so if you feel that you are moving forward, in a way, you are already kind of comparing with memory, because with what will you compare? With other participants? You have no idea if what is my life. You have no idea if I experience more peace than you. Maybe I'm just completely depressed, but for 1 hour I pretend to be happy. You have no idea. So you cannot see where you are. I mean, is it true or not for you?
I understand that, and I am aware of that, but I still feel motivated to try to.
Oh, great. If you still have the motivation, it's great. I mean, this world, this whole universe is there to kind of enjoy, you know, follow your motivation, do everything you want. But I just wanted to be sure that you are aware of this, and apparently you are, so it's great, you know. It's fantastic. Just see
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Duncan, it's not going to work. You're never going to get back to that. Give up.
And I'm a slow learner, so I need to internalize this wallowing
Okay.
in hopelessness. And what does that look like? Can someone teach me how to wallow in hopelessness? Hopelessness.
Let me tell you, you're never going to get that back again, right? If you get something similar to that in future, it won't be because you try to get there. The only way that you've got any hope of getting there is to not try to get there and to be totally involved in now. See, trying to get there means you're not involved in now. Trying to get there means that you're existing in some kind of fantasy future of getting there. You're ignoring now. What is now? And the only way you're going to get there is to be totally involved in what is now. The moment you try and get there, you're not involved in what is now, and you're not going to do it. It won't happen. The only way you can get there, if you can get there, is to not try and get there, is to be involved in now. And now means this instant. It doesn't mean 5 minutes ago or 5 minutes in the future. It doesn't mean doing breath work. It doesn't mean meditating. It doesn't mean watching a video. It doesn't mean anything except whatever is going on right now. And whatever is going on right now is this. You're here with us right now. That's your only chance to get there, is to be totally involved in this now, here. At every moment, at every moment. The moment you even think about that, you're not in this. You're in a fantasy world.
Okay.
That's pretty brutal.
Clear.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
It sounds like you've got an Australian accent to me. You in Australia?
Kiwi.
A Kiwi. Okay. That's kind of almost Australia. Yeah. Okay. Here's language you understand. Every thought you have is bullshit. Don't listen to them. Everyone, every single one. There's no exceptions. Every thought is bullshit. Any idea you get is bullshit. Bullshit, 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 blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now can't be described. Now it has no words. This has no words. This is the taste of your drink, the feel of the cup. This is what's going on exactly right at this instant. And it's beyond description. That's pretty hopeless, isn't it? For anything future, for anything else. Something's happened just then for you. Savor it. Don't think about it. What does it feel like?
Neutral.
It's hard not to use words, isn't it?
Very.
So the only word that even gets it doesn't even get close, but it alludes to it is this. This. Whatever is being experienced right now, this.
Only this.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. It's definitely emphasized something I already knew, but I'm just crap at implementing.
Yeah. Sinking into it can be difficult. We defend by using thoughts about it. We want to discuss it. We want to describe it. We want to do something with it, and it's all a diversion away from what's actually happening. every time you start thinking about something, we need that trigger to go off that says, uh-oh, I'm escaping.
Hit the reset button.
Yeah. Perfect. Power off, power back on. Clears the memory. Yeah. Don, my friend Don, how are you?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. I just actually, I noticed Rowena mentioned that Ramiz has his hand up for a little bit. I don't know if he wants
Oh,
to say
yes.
something.
Oh, thank you for that. I
Yeah.
did see it and then I forgot
Yeah.
about it. Ramiz, you have something to say. We'll come back to Don. Thank you, Don.
I want to ask a question about intuition.
Yes, yes.
Because all I have is very self-doubting mind and traumatic body, fearful body, and I don't know where to look for intuition. What is intuition?
My intuition says there's no answer to that one. Yeah. It's not a thing. So it probably can't be described, but we can kind of poke at it. And it has something to do with trust. But trust is not a thing either. Trust is a lack of mistrust. So we get to belief. It's a belief in thoughts/feelings that arise. Okay, the body, yes, that might be the closest thing to intuition. Your body will tell you that something is right. There's a feeling that comes with trust and then we believe in that and we act on it because we believe in it, because we trust it. So it's hopeless to try and define it, I think.
Nothing feels right in the body.
Well, that sounds
There's
like
only
intuition.
fear.
That sounds pretty good. Your intuition is that you don't trust.
Yes, the closest thing I can remember having some kind of intuition or some kind of flow was when I was a kid playing football, and I was just playing without thinking, and I find myself in this flow, and I was playing very good, and I was amazed at how what my body is doing without really deciding anything. And once I noticed this, my mind came back and tried to keep the momentum and I screw things up. And this is the closest thing I find myself, like I'm not divided. I'm not just looking at myself, judging myself, asking myself, this is right, this is wrong. And I felt like I'm going with the flow.
Yeah.
And nothing in my life feels like this ever. Like I can't get back to this space where I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking, is this right? Is this wrong?
Yeah.
And when I look in my body, I find fear. I find a lot of fear. There's nothing to trust. There's no direction. There's no compass. Nothing tells me go right or left. I'm just freezing in my place and I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want in life.
Mm-hmm.
Ramiz, you could say that joining this group, you had an intuition or that this would, that this would be a good place to choose. In some ways, the choices get made, and how do the choices get made when you have a choice either to join the group or not join the group? So as a subtle level, it's a repetitive intuition, but at one time you wrote to Vince to get to join, and you returned, and so there's something there underneath that you're following that could be described as intuition, perhaps.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. So you've been back to this group several times now, quite a few times, and something I imagine tells you that it's right for you to be here, that there's some potential value in being here, and because of that, you turn up, and that feeling that it's right to be here, I would call that intuition. I mean, I presume you have that feeling that it's right to be here, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. Can you experience, do you know what I mean when I say you have that feeling that it's right to be here?
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah, without analyzing it, it feels okay. It feels there's just some kind of attraction to it, to be here.
actually, it feels like the only place that feels right to be here.
Yeah. Well, I would say that's intuition. That feeling that's right, that attraction, yeah. But I would also say don't start chasing it. You can't make it happen. It happens or it doesn't happen. So trying to get it, trying to chase it is counterproductive. Again, all you'll do is chase it away. Yeah.
Ramiz, do you have chronic pain?
No, but there's a lot of contractions all day.
Okay. Do you have some kind of disease, like
No.
lethal disease? No. Okay, because sadly you have very few support to feel security and support apparently in your life. That's what I'm hearing. But can you feel your heart beating?
I can feel pulsating, but not in the heart specifically.
Okay, just pulsating. Are you doing this pulsation yourself?
No.
And are you aware that this pulsation is kind of supporting your body?
I don't feel it this way. It's just pulsating.
Yeah, it's what I will say. It's a story, but it can be maybe helpful. You can try it and see what happens, because feeling support, I think it's you, like you are saying, it's kind of important for you at the moment. It can be a very good stepping stone to find a way to feel support. So if you have no support in your surrounding, you can maybe start to feel how the body is supporting himself. You know, when you walk, there is many muscles involved. There is many sensations that allow you to work. You know, the heart is beating. There's a whole universe in the body, physical body, that is supporting itself. And noticing this can be a stepping stone, because and it can be a good way to think about it and to feeling the sensation. And that's why I was, because for example, now you are sitting or you are laying down.
I'm laying down.
You are laying down.
Sitting.
Okay. So now, can you feel that there is something supporting your body, giving you support?
Yes, but there's like tensions, like my body is feeling falling, something like that.
Okay, but is there one part in your body that feel comfortable?
What comfortable feel like?
I don't know. Comfortable mean you feel something that's nice to feel. Just this, just, you know, it can be your feet on the floor. It can be just feeling the air. It can be anything. Just one sensation that say, when you put your attention on it, there is this, that's nice. That's
Maybe
it.
the sensation of breathing.
Okay. Okay. So when you feel you breathing, you feel comfortable. You feel that's nice. You feel this kind of feeling.
Yeah, it feels good.
Okay. So there is a breathing in one way, and on the other part there is this feeling good. So it's correct.
Yes.
So where do you feel this feeling good? Where is the sensation?
It's like part of the sensation.
And okay, it's part of the sensation of breathing.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I want to say that this can be a good way to exploring your body. Don't go into tension, go into where is nice. And sometimes we don't feel nothing nice, you know, that my life is terrible, there's only fear, there's only tension. But it's not true. There's always, even if it's very small, there's always one part in our dimension of sensation that is nice. Always, no matter what happened, there's always one, even if it's in dentist and is painful in the teeth and everything looks like hell. No, just my feet there, this is soft, this is nice. You know, this, and you focus there and you feel this nice, and you try to orient your attention toward what's nice. And after it will go back to tension, it's okay. And after you find again a place that feel comfortable, and you focus on this. Because my belief is that there is so many tension that there is no ground to work on, because everything is like sand, and everything look like fearful, and even in your environment and inside you look fear. So if you don't have access to layer of support from outside, you can find them inside, but you have to be very sensitive and to work with parts that feel comfortable. And I'm not talking about having a breakthrough of light of God shining in you. Just very simple, you know, just your butt on the chair. You know, okay, my work is terrible, my life is terrible, but feeling my butt on the chair is nice. So how nice it feels, and where is this nice? Where I feel this nice? You know, it's in the chest, it's in the same place, kind of navigating that way. I don't know if this talk to you or not. If this resonates, what I say.
It's something that I'm trying to do, but it feels like my contraction is just pulling my attention again and again. It's like, look at me, look at me.
Yeah, I get it. And I think for everyone, it's the same, that what we need the most is the most difficult to do in our life.
But it may not be difficult, Ramez. If you what you've discovered then was that your breathing, your breath, some part of that felt nice. That may be your go-to place every time. So go to that nice feeling there and watch the nice feeling. And while you're watching that feeling, while you're aware of that niceness, the other stuff is out of your focus. You're not, it's in the background. So that's an exercise that you could do every time you decide that you're feeling not good. Go and look at your breath again, where you go to that little one spot where you are feeling good, and not trying to do anything, just go to that and focus on that. And that can be your exercise for the next week to do that.
It won't be like avoidance.
No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about applying a meaning to it or describing it. Just do it. Just make that the thing that you're going to focus on, because whatever thoughts you have, you can't trust them. They're going to lead you up the garden path. Just every time, just do that little exercise for the next week or until next time we see you, and see what happens.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
think Vince, it's a very good point. And if you have this thought about avoidance, I mean, aren't you tired of suffering? What is the belief that it has to be hard, that we have to go to go through hell all the time? Why not, just focus on what's nice? And why not? It's beautiful. I think it's very nice. And thank you, Vince, to always remind me, and that thoughts are always lying constantly. Thank you.
Ramesh, just to give some support to returning to the breathing, there is a very beautiful short, like 20 minutes, I think, talk by Thich Nhat Hanh, and he focusing on the breathing and introducing words. It's a very small little mantra, but with a very gentle voice. And it goes, when you breathe in, you say, I'm breathing in. And when you go out, you say, I'm breathing out. And so it's engaging in the mind with the breathing process. And then you can add to that is like, I'm breathing in deeply, I go deep, and then slow, and then calm and ease. And then you go back to in, and little by little. And so your thinking mind is not just observing, but is participating, because you're gently saying with the breathing. And it's not avoidance. It's in a way the breath is the connection between mind and body. And so it's bringing some respite, some calmness, some relaxation to your physical body and your mind.
Okay, thank you, Arina. Thank you, David.
Your turn now, Don.
Thanks. Yeah, there was a few things. It's funny how I kind of found I connected with a number of things that people were saying. Earlier on, I think Sky was talking about work stuff, or not wanting to go to work, or not wanting to go to school. And I was feeling into that, like, I don't want to go to work. And it feels like the whole, I was just trying to feel the sensation of it. It just feels like the whole of the real world, as we mentioned before, it feels like the real world is made of, you have to, because. And my response, whoever I am, my response is, no, I don't want to. And it's like a body knows since I was 12. I don't want to. I don't know what the hell I want to do, but this isn't it. I just don't want to do any of this whatsoever. And it just feels like just feeling of like not wanting to do any of the stuff, you know. So if it connects to hopelessness, it's like it doesn't feel nothing that can, I don't know what I want, and none of this works for me. I don't know what, yeah. Anyway, another little thing, I don't know what the solutions are. I just feel stuck. I was trying to do some self-inquiry yesterday again. I find in the car works well because I'm kind of something to keep me from getting too distracted driving and listening to Angelo and doing some self-inquiry. And I was just trying to start from a little bit of clarity. There was a thing I think Rebecca said about something like safety isn't to be found in the thoughts or something. And as soon as she said something like that a few minutes ago, I was like, oh yeah, of course. And then it's just some small sense of presence going, safety isn't even an issue, it doesn't matter. But the thoughts are going to keep looking for safety. And so I have a little bit of presence, and I'm looking, doing self-inquiry, going, who am I? And there's a feeling of me and the sense of confusion and constantly getting distracted, and the beliefs, sort of sets of beliefs going, I'm preventing awakening. This is never going to work. I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing something here. This is something I'm doing that's preventing clarity. I'm doing this. I'm the one who's messing this up. I'm really a strong sense of I'm doing this wrong. And I just keep on trying to stand back going, who is aware of that? Who, you know, can I stand back from that even a little bit and be aware of that feeling of me who's doing everything wrong? And I just try and do it for ages, for hours when I'm driving. And I don't know if I get very far because it so feels like me. I'm the one who's fucking this up. It's so obvious. I feel like that. And I just try to stand back from it just a little bit and watch it and go, I have to almost assert that can't be me because I'm aware of it. I'm seeing it, but it feels like it is. So I just do that. And I don't know what, I haven't made huge progress with it, but I just try to keep seeing that it must be an object. It's a feeling. It's a set of thoughts and beliefs. And yeah, that's what I was doing. I did a bit of that this morning. And I do it. Sometimes I do it for long periods, and I think this must be a good thing to do. At some point, I might see through this. Will I? I don't know.
You know, Don, first thing that I noticed as you started to talk was that you were talking slower. And then you built up and you got quite fast, but not like you were last time you spoke. You're talking slower than you were, which makes me think that you're probably thinking a little slower than you were. Something has changed, even though you may not appreciate it.
I will, yeah, well, I'll admit though to you now, to everyone, one of the reasons for that is probably because I popped a pill or two this morning, because I have a stash from ages ago of tablets that I stopped taking, and every now and then the negative trip gets so intense, sometimes first thing in the morning. I'm staying with my friends and I thought I can't impose this level of negativity on them. I just got so much fear and sadness this morning from 6 or 7 a.m. I was like, I'm just going to take a couple of tablets and I'm going to be a little bit less intense. So I'm a bit like that now. And I had virtually stopped taking these things completely 3 years ago, and I only think of them once every 2 or 3 months for a good long time. And in the last 3 to 6 months, it's been quite frequent. The last 2 months, like every week, several times. So that's one of the reasons, maybe one of the reasons that I'm more slowly.
Okay. Well, I thought you'd something had happened for you, and it's all because you.
No, I know. Unfortunately, no. Sometimes it does, but no. This week has been, yeah. This week has been a real struggle. I was quickly watching a bit of last week's video from Saturday, and I remember being a little bit. I remember saw myself having my coffee on the video, and I remember feeling kind of optimistic, and then things just went off for the rest of the weekend. And I was off this week for kind of a meditation week, and all I did was just ruminate on how terrible everything is for the whole day. At least I met Alan a couple of times, so thank you so much for that. And I hope to, he's been great so far. So I'll see what happens with that over the next while. But yeah, oh, I don't know. I mean, one of my thoughts from the beginning of this meeting, once again, was like just a feeling of feeling ashamed that I've been coming for 6 or 7 weeks and I feel like I haven't made any progress whatsoever. I'm still incredibly confused. I haven't done anything useful. I haven't achieved anything. I haven't had any clarity. I'm just not doing anything good or useful. I'm coming along here, same crap story every week, going, nah, nothing has improved. I haven't achieved anything.
Yeah, you should feel really bad. You're wasting our time. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no hope. You'll never change. You'll never get there.
Yep.
Yeah. You and Duncan should get together and give up.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know.
Believe me, things do happen. Yeah, there will be, I mean, it seems like slow, and you won't even notice the change sometimes because they're subtle changes, but they accumulate and things do happen. And it can just be somebody saying something that they don't even know they're saying that just triggers something for you, flicks a switch and something changes. You never know,
Yeah. Small things like that happen sometimes, but yeah. Sometimes it's the hopelessness thing is funny though. I don't know if it's even funny, but like I might say I spent the week feeling hopeless, but not really. I was in a bunch of stories hoping things would be better, which isn't really hopeless. It's
That's
just
right.
misery. Whereas proper hopelessness is kind of going, there's nothing to be done. Let's stop trying to do anything.
Absolutely.
Or something. Just stop completely. And then it's almost not hopelessness anymore because you've just realized there's nothing to be done. I don't know. So yeah, I'm kind of saying that hopelessness when you're in it isn't, because it's hoping for something to be better.
Exactly.
And then when you really realize that you stop being hopeless.
Yeah.
Almost. Because there's no need anyway, but I kind of feel like I can see that. And yet the habit of wanting things to be better and ruminating about those for hours and hours is so strong that I spend a lot of my time doing
that. Yeah. And it's not things that are so bad. It's, the room you're in, the clothes you're wearing, the chair you're sitting on, they're fine. There's nothing outside of you that's making you feel bad. It's the bad feeling you've got that's making you feel bad. It's a circular thing. Yeah.
I kept having the feeling after last week's meeting that Don's 800-pound gorilla came to light. You didn't feel that way, Don?
On the one on Sunday, was it? Or
yeah,
I feel a bit. Yeah, I was able to express a few things, I suppose. There's a little bit. So there was a little bit there. There's such a lot. I don't know how. As I said a minute ago, Alan met me a couple of times, so hopefully I can keep exploring some of that stuff. I've got some distance with that stuff over the years, but it never kind of. Who was talking about going breath work? Was that Duncan? I mean, I've done that a whole bunch of times, and I get to some of that stuff, but I don't get to breaking through. I kind of get to anger and things that I know is there, and I shout at somebody or I get annoyed or something, and I go, yeah, but I know that, but it hasn't broken through to, I don't know, either whatever bigger amounts of anger or easing off afterwards. It's funny. So I don't know how to whether that happens for people.
What I came away feeling was that what's missing is the heart. That it's a constant approach from the head, and the heart is left out, and you are diverting away from that.
Okay, I don't know what to do about that exactly. I've sometimes tried a couple of times the sort of the Buddhist, I don't know if it's a Buddhist technique, but sometimes the idea of finding somebody else that you love, say, or whatever, and you feel whatever you feel of compassion or love for them, and then you try and bring it back to yourself. And I sometimes try and do it that way to kind of go, what would it actually feel like to bring love and compassion to myself, and try to find someone else that I feel it for. and sometimes it works a little bit, but I don't know how to do it. I'm not very good at it, really. I remember I went and did a loving kindness week in a Buddhist place years ago, and I just got really angry for 10 days. I was like, everyone else knows how to feel love except me. I'm fucking sick of this. This is nonsense. I'm going to go home.
That's you're still trying to make a practice out of it. What about just a heart opening? How does that happen? What is there in your life where the heart is open?
Right now it's a little bit weird though. There was someone I liked for a while last year that was a heart opening for me, but I don't see that person right now. So that's a bit difficult just at the moment.
And you
for me.
push back quickly on feeling that toward an animal or nature. And
Oh yeah, you asked me that last week, yeah.
Could you not see that as a way of having that heart broken open? And do you not feel that you come at this from the head exclusively, and that there's some kind of a barrier?
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, I'd agree. I come at things from the head, and my answer to the barrier thing is I have no idea. Almost like I have no idea what you mean about the heart. So there must be a barrier because I don't know what it even means. Almost, I don't know. I mean, I suppose I know what it means. I suppose as far as feeling for other people, I do, but feeling for myself is just a mystery.
You can't know until you experience it.
Yeah.
It jumps up here that you have felt that heart feeling at some point in the past. Doesn't matter who to or why or whatever, but you have a memory of that feeling. Can you get in touch with that feeling right now? Just a little bit there. Just put your hand on your chest. And feel the hand on the chest. And think of when you felt that love, that heart feeling. Can you remember feeling it? Yeah. So whereabouts specifically under your hand? Where is it? More under your fingers or more under the palm of the hand or the wrist side of it? Whereabouts in that is that feeling of heart, that feeling of love? Where in the body is it experienced? Just remember when you felt it.
I don't feel quite as much here. I feel like crying, actually. I suppose it's almost relief or a disbelief. Yeah, when I remember, it's almost, I feel like crying out of, I don't know, what is it? Gratitude, maybe? It's almost like a feeling of disbelief that it's possible.
Yes.
Where I was remembering a few months ago, I was like, oh my gosh, is it really possible to feel this with
You're
somebody
going to
else?
talk now until you don't feel it anymore, are you?
Okay, go on. Fucking hell, what? What? I'm just...
Just feel, all I want to do is feel the feeling. I mean, we can't, you don't have to tell us about it. Just feel it.
Okay. Okay.
Now, just identify where in the body and what it feels like. Don't tell us about it. Don't say anything. Don't even label it. Just experience the sensation, that feeling there. That feeling, it's I'm imagining that it's a bit warm. You can feel that. And now that's not attached to anything, is it? Outside of you. That's not attached to a person or a place or a thing. It's just a feeling in the body, eh? So what's this idea of directing it to somebody or back to yourself? It's just a feeling that you've got, eh? That's it, just a feeling.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
And we're not gonna point it at anybody or point it back at yourself. Just experience that feeling there. Is it changing? Is it static? Is it moving?
Yeah, a little bit moving, yeah.
So your exercise for the next week is to feel that feeling. Not do anything with it, not describe it, not do anything, just to feel it once a day, at least, every day. Get in touch with that feeling, nothing else.
Okay, yeah.
Could you imagine something that's closed, opening, that it can be an opening of something that's not open, that's not feeling open right now?
Can I imagine that you're saying, is it, or I can imagine it as I go along that that's happening.
The word opening and
Okay.
open and opening up.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine. I'll remember, I guess, to try and see how that. Yeah. Okay.
I keep wondering about the sense of being needed.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel needed?
Not
it
so
even
much. Yeah, just that one example I was referring to, I did. So that's I can connect with that a little bit. Yeah.
So you don't feel needed anywhere?
No, I don't. I just feel like I feel tolerated. That's the most positive thing I feel from people.
Do you think that could be a sense of being needed? Isn't that critical?
I suppose it's important. I feel, and it doesn't happen very much. So it's nice when I guess it's a nice thing. It's so infrequent that I experience it that it wouldn't occur to me to be critical. I don't even know it's possible half the time.
Lindy's got a hand up. Lindy.
Yeah, just a couple of things just to say to Don, because I really resonate with the things that Don is saying. I spent many years feeling so much like Don. My heart is really open to you. Firstly, something somebody said a couple of weeks ago, I don't think it was on here, it's somewhere else, regarding knowing about progress. The only bit that would know about any progress is so deep in your unconscious that you actually wouldn't know it with your functioning brain. So just because you don't think you're making progress doesn't mean to say you're not. You just might not know it in a conscious way. And secondly, I used to, take tranquilizers when everything got too much because I just felt I couldn't cope with it. But the more I've learned, and it's taken a long time to go into the body, and it's not easy to start with, but the more I've learned to do that and trusted that feeling things, even just for 10 seconds sometimes, and gradually that's grown. I actually haven't touched a tranquilizer for ages now, because there's something about if you go in and you start feeling things do start to slightly get released. It can be a long process, doesn't have to be, but actually just keep going back into your body and feeling. And sometimes within a few hours, I suddenly feel absolutely great having done that. Not always, but there will be release. Just every time you're just too up here, just try and remember just to get into your body and feel, even if it's only a few seconds. And I'm no way an expert on this at all. I mean, a lot of this is very new for me, funnily enough, even after all the years of seeking, but it's the only thing that seems to be getting some traction. So I just wanted to share that with you and just say, you're really not on your own, and things can get better.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I am trying to do that, getting into the body thing. It's a bit of a mystery, but I'm going to keep trying to do it whatever way. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It is a mystery, but it's really worth persisting with, because I can assure you, I know where you are, and it's just the only thing. It was the only thing left, really, desperation. So just keep remembering that every time you're up here, just a little bit. It's not going to be earth shattering, but anyway, there you go. Good luck.
You're very kind. Thank you. Yeah. I've been doing, as I was maybe said previously on this group, I've been doing TRE for like 5 or 6 months, and somebody helping me. I see her every few weeks on Zoom. The sessions I do with her, the supported sessions, I usually feel a lot better afterwards. But the ones I do on my own, I don't know what but I get into some stuff, as it were, and feel something happening, but I don't feel much better after them yet. I was expecting it would, might few weeks or months, I might start to feel, I don't know whether I'm benefiting myself or not, but I'm going to keep bashing away belligerently like I always do at it.
Is it always are you always doing these things from a sense of isolation? And can you is there a possibility of making an actual connection with someone or something, some kind of energetic connection?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see people like I have this talk to you here, but or some person help me with one of these therapies or whatever, some kind of therapist I would talk to about those things, but friends I have, but I don't feel that connected really. I do feel somewhat isolated. That's true.
What is it that happens when a person connects therapeutically with an animal?
Oh, I don't know what that means.
Why is there such a thing as therapy animals? Because it would entirely circumvent everything that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I suppose. It's funny when I know you've mentioned animals to me just now, and I think last week. And one of my, where I am now, my friends they have dogs here. They're nice dogs, but I do feel one of my initial reactions is no, oh no, I don't want the responsibility for that. I don't want to have to think, where's the dog? Is it at the back? Will I have to go home? Where will I put the dog when I go away for the weekend? This feeling of like, it'd be nice to spend time with a dog, but I don't know if I want to have 24. I mean, I know a dog isn't the only option, but just one of my reactions is about responsibility. It just means I'm selfish. I don't know.
There are shelters and rescues. There are rescues where there are animals that, I mean, there's so much brutality in the world.
Yeah.
And the brutality that we direct toward ourselves, we industrialize it and institutionalize it toward animals. We treat them as commodities.
Yeah.
And property. And it's such an opportunity. There's such a need on their part for something that you have to offer, and there's such a potential to break through and melt whatever it is that's from here. It looks like it's isolating you in the head.
Yeah. Maybe that I have this okay, maybe it's just an excuse or an objection like usual. I have this experience of when I do something to get an outcome from it. So if often something will work, as it were. I'll feel much better after talking to someone, after going for a run, after whatever it is, and I go, oh, that feels so much better. I must do that again, because that's a good thing. I'm going to do more exercise. I'm going to have a better diet. I'm going to do more socializing. I'm going to do, and as soon as I do it for an outcome, it doesn't work anymore. It's only when it happens spontaneously that it works. And I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that makes all of that irrelevant, something that takes over, that's not your doing, and you won't get there until you allow that, and you're in the proximity to it.
Okay.
But as long as you're not willing, it takes some effort. Some action needs to put you in proximity to that possibility, where some kind of heart connection can happen.
Okay. I only partly know what you mean, so I'll have to consider it or something. I'll consider it in my head, David. That's what I'll do.
David's planted a seed, Don.
Yeah.
Just going back to TRE, because I had a lot of like rigidity in my body and a lot of contraction and things, and I have I have done the TRE, but again, it's sort of effort. It became efforting. I found the exercises were quite good, but then somebody suggested, I think it was Pernilla, that not in relation to TRE, but to a vibration plate is really helpful, and there's no effort, and it's one of the, you just look up vibration plate. It's an electric thing that you plug in the wall and you stand on it, and it moves your body, and actually it's very invigorating, and there's no mental effort coming into it. You can even listen to music or a podcast, and I think it sort of does the same, because it just shakes and helps move energy up and down the spine, which is really helps releasing. So that's just like a practical suggestion if the TRE isn't successful for you doing it by yourself.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. Yeah, because it does feel like effort. So I have something to put into the days when I don't feel like making the effort would be good. No,
it's like it can be a kickstart, first thing in the morning. I mean, slotting it in after your first cup of coffee or something, and it's effortless because it's 10 minutes. And yeah, the whole system is gets a little workout in a way.
Okay. That's it. That's excellent. I'll give that a go. I'll look it up now in a second. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you repeat how it is called? What to look for?
Oh, it's called a vibration plate. I think that's what you would look up on Amazon, and it's actually very popular for people doing weight loss. But it's really, really helpful. I find it really helpful, just sort of moving energy. And I sometimes have days when I can't really look after myself for doing exercise, because I'm looking after my husband and I don't have the time. And I find that it really it helps move energy, especially if you've done a few exercises, moving the body beforehand. Or even after you've been for a walk or something. They're not too pricey either.
Great, thanks. I've just looked it up now, so I'll find one to get. Thanks.
Yeah, I just had a quick look on eBay, and they're $100. You can buy one. That's $100 Australian, so that's about 50 euros or pounds or US dollars. Yeah, but you're trying to do things for an outcome, Don, so you got no hope. Give up.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I was thinking about that for a second. Yeah. Sometimes I'm even like, I'm on one hand I'm doing it for an outcome, on the other hand I'm just plodding through stuff like month after month, year after year, going, I'm just, kind of for an outcome, but also like almost hopelessly going, this has never worked so far. I'm just going to keep doing it, because if I don't do it, I won't be doing anything useful. So I'll just keep doing it, keep going to therapy, keep doing this exercise, keep doing this thing, stuff that doesn't work, but I just keep doing it because the alternative would be giving up and not doing anything. So yeah, it's almost not for an outcome because I'm doing it hopelessly.
That's totally impossible to not do anything.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And like I was saying to Duncan, what you're looking for is a fantasy. You've just got to accept the way you are. That's the only way you can change it, to accept it, totally accept it. What all the shit that's going on, that's the way it is. Just accept it. And it'll change. Trying to change it won't change it. Accepting it is your only chance to change it. But that's doing too, and that's for an outcome. So again, you got no chance. You'll never get there. Give up. Maybe we'll start the give up club, the hopeless club. Duncan can be president.
But Duncan took it one step further, I think, because there was despair, because everything was collapsing. So.
Yeah.
At that time, at that particular moment, I think when you described.
Can you, David, explain about what you said, being in proximity for something to take over?
And David, explain it from your experience, not theoretical, if you know what I mean.
I feel like I was in the same state that Don is in, and basically it's a sealed off heart. That it's ignored, and when I got pets, it was kind of a casual thing in the beginning. And then I just remember day by day being in awe, kind of amazed at what was happening, because it just broke something open, and it was it was beyond control, and it was like a flood of things that I never recognized. And I just, it showed me how much was just frozen and inaccessible and sealed off. And I think if that was like maybe 6 years ago, and I think I was thinking about going through LU, and if I didn't have that experience 6 years ago, I think I would be right where Don is now. It's just constantly looking and looking and looking with the mind, and thinking, and just going in circles. And it's such an energetic movement that needs to happen to get out of that space. like something comes in and takes you. It's not, there's no procedure or practice that's going to get you there beyond that barrier. You have to be taken.
You said you have to be, you have to do some actions to be in proximity for this to happen. What do you mean?
I guess basically I'm talking about love and a heart connection. How can that happen if you are isolated from the possibilities of that kind of a connection? It takes some kind of movement in that direction on your part. I guess basically it's like saying it's not going to come to you. It's not just going to drop into your lap. It could, but what are you going to do? Just sit and keep analyzing?
I certainly second what David says about the connection. We have a dog that I was having a conversation with my dog recently. It was, I don't know, it was maybe this morning, maybe it was yesterday. And my conversation went something like, I know you're just here because you want something. You want feed, or you want to walk, or you want something. Your dog keeps coming to me and asking. And I can tell by the look in the eyes when it looks at me that it wants something. But it is so lovely. It is so beautiful. There is so much of a connection there that it is just amazing. It is indescribable, that. And our dog, it happens to be a Labradoodle, and so it doesn't have hair, it has wool, and it's just beautiful to touch. It's just this wonderful soft feeling of and so I'm sure that half the time the dog just comes to me because it wants me to pet it. It's addicted to me stroking it, and I just do it all the time, and it's just lovely, 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 lovely. And you can call it love. I don't know what to call it, but it's a beautiful feeling. It is.
I also think that probably most people here are married and have probably have had children, and probably you take a lot of what happened for granted, and don't recognize now.
Yeah, there's
What-
definitely an intimacy with the dog that you don't have with your spouse or with your kids.
But even with spouse and kids, what it builds into your character that you don't appreciate. And if you don't, if you're lacking those things, there's something that you just don't know, and something that's missing, and you can't recognize it because you've never tasted it. Or if you have, it's cut off now.
Mm.
So I think people are on such a spectrum of that kind of connection and stability that comes from it. And when you don't have that, where else are you going to be but in the head?
Mm.
I wonder why, Ramiz, you ask that question.
Because I'm in my head and I don't know what you're talking about.
But do you resonate with a lack of heart connection
Yes,
and an absence of something in your life that could provide it?
yeah, but my mind keeps guessing as something external, and I know that nothing will fulfill this sense of lack.
One thing that's coming to mind for me, a therapist that I was seeing a couple years ago had interpreted that I was lacking some sort of deeper connection in my life. And for several weeks, I had interpreted that as connection with people, that I was lacking friendships, which I agreed with. That I was lacking this like community where I lived, which I agreed with. And finally, he had picked up that that's what I was hearing, because he wasn't using the words specifically with people. That was just my my bubble of reality was interpreting it as, oh, he's talking about people. And when he picked up on that, he said that need for connection doesn't necessarily have to come from friends. It doesn't have to come from your community. And that really opened my eyes to, it can come from nature. It can come from other things, and you don't have to. I tend to be introverted. I tend to be a homebody, and so I kept misinterpreting that he meant that I needed to have a more active social life. But he's like, no, your need for connection doesn't have to come necessarily from people, and that was a really helpful door into considering other ways to find some sort of connection and resonance with something outside myself in my life.
Yep. It comes to me that in the future we'll use AI for that purpose. And it'll be perfect. It'll work well.
I think a big part of it is finding a recipient for your compassion.
There is somebody said it's a lot easier to give it to other people than it is to give it to yourself.
It can be easier to give it to an animal too than to people.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because it's unconditional with the animal, really, compared to people anyway. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Well, when Don was speaking about this, I don't know, the fear of being responsible for a pet. I don't know. If it's fear. Well, one change I've noticed is in my dream. I have a recurring nightmare about finding a lot of pet rats that I've forgotten about. in my home, and they are neglected, sick, hungry, eating each other. So awful, awful. And it's because I've had a lot of pet rats in my life, and it happened once that I've neglected. Nothing serious. No one died, but the nightmares are recurring since that day, and it's always such a dread that I caused harm to the pet. And the change was that for the first time, the dream was I found these cages full of rats, and I thought to myself, oh, I need to phone the organization that takes the rats, and I need to contact the vet, and it was just for the first time it was not just dread, but that I can deal with this. I accept the consequences, and it is what it is. And the second dream is about coming back to school. And it's because there was also a subject of not wanting to go to work. So the dream about coming back to school is that for some reason I need to go to high school again, and I dislike some subjects, so I'm skipping classes, and I'm so afraid it will be discovered. And about a year ago, for the first time, the dream was, it was discovered, and I was, oh, so I will need to repeat this year. Okay. So it's the same.
Are these reoccurring dreams?
Yeah, 4 years.
More nightmares than dreams, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So would you have them more than, say, once a week? A dream like that?
No, once a month.
Once a month, yeah. Mm. Hmm. And do you think that they reflect something in your life, like not wanting to go to work or not wanting to be responsible for a pet?
They reflect with you that I am not responsible and that it will have consequences that I am not able to deal with, that it will be hurtful for others, for me,
Yep.
and there will be all great fear. There will be depression.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fear.
Yeah, I've almost forgotten, but I can pull up from in my memory. Even when I do that, I recognize that it was probably for a large part of my life having to do things I don't want to do. It seems like it's not there now. It's different, but it was. I do remember. Yeah. I just felt so out of place at school, so out of place everywhere. Even I joined the Navy when I was 17 or 18. And it was horrible experience. You know, God, they know how to abuse people there. So, but not anymore. I don't know why. Now it seems like I'm happy to do whatever is in front of me.
One
Like-
thing I found really interesting about related to that, Vince, is feeling into my body and the other senses when I'm doing something that I've told myself I want to do, and then comparing that with the experience of doing something that I didn't want to do, and not finding much different in the actual experience of those two things.
Mm.
You know, it's like doing the dishes, and instead of following the story that I don't want to do the dishes, or I don't want to clean up, or I don't want to do whatever the the chore is, when I'm doing that thing, paying close attention to my bodily sensations and what the visual and other sensory experience is, and comparing that with things that I've told myself that I enjoy. And it's been so interesting to not find a whole lot of difference between those.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Well, as you were talking, I realized that I don't have the feeling that I do want to do things. I don't feel I don't want to, and I don't feel I do want to. And then I realized that my meltdown this morning was about not wanting to do. I just, like, this huge job. I had all this, and I was suddenly confronted with this huge job, and I knew that I was going to hurt my hand. My arthritic hand was going to be pained by doing this job. And that's when I had my meltdown. But afterwards, I went and did the job, and it was okay. It hurt, but it was okay. I did it anyway, but not because I wanted to or didn't want to. I just did it. Yeah. it's interesting. That's another discovery for me right now. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's where anybody else needs to get. It's just my experience. I do what's in front of me for no reason, not because, I don't even do it because it's there. I just do it. And mostly I feel fine about doing it. But I don't experience, yes, I want to do it, or no, I don't want to do it. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. So it's hard for me to relate to not wanting to go to work. When I mean, I've been retired for years and years and years now, but when I did my last job, was owning and running a computer shop. And I never experienced not wanting to go there. That was before all of this. My personality is to be obsessive about things. So whatever I'm doing, I get a bit obsessive about it. So it's kind of like wanting to do it, I guess. I also can't relate to being responsible for my animal or my family.
Did you used to feel responsible and then it fell away, or is it always have you always had a sense of that?
No, I guess I did, because I can remember doing things out of duty, a sense of duty. So I guess that's a feeling responsible. But that's been a long time. I mean, when I had my meltdown this morning and I got angry, it was funny because it was strange, but because I directed it towards my wife, because, you know, she's the one that created this huge job that needed to be done. But of course, I took responsibility when I said that it wasn't really directed at her. I was just expressing my own frustration when I got angry like that. But that faded quickly. But I also then realized that I can't change that for her. So it's not my responsibility to make her feel better about it, even though I was involved in her not feeling very good, her feeling bad. Because I recognize I can't, I'm not responsible. I'm not irresponsible, but I'm not responsible. Because responsibility is a strange thing, isn't it? It's a made up thing, and it involves a whole lot of weird feelings that are not very productive, unnecessary feelings to be responsible.
Well, maybe when you talk about someone's feelings, but I am responsible to give water to my pets, to feed them.
Well, that's a story you can overlay on the reality. The reality is that if I see my dog's water bowl is empty, I put water in it.
And if I don't?
Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to get into that story. If I see that it's empty, I'll put water in it. If I see there's water in it, I don't need to put water in it. If I see that it's empty and wonder how long it's been empty, do I feel bad about that? No, I just put water in it.
Yeah, guys, your thoughts about responsibility are relating to something in the future. And obviously you had that experience with your rat at one time in your life, which obviously was very traumatic for you. But since then you have your cats, and maybe there are times, maybe you're not at home, you think, oh, I have to get back to the cats. And that's the thought that comes in. But generally the taking care of in this now moment is just happening. You're not thinking about, but when you start thinking about looking after a cat or a dog, or as David was suggesting to Bob, then it's sort of thoughts, and then thoughts about a future possibility, and then all the, oh yes, but this and this and this, whereas what's happening is just what's happening, looking after the pets.
Yep.
Without any over talk.
When you discovered that you had forgotten about the rats, right, and that you described it as neglect, and that might be appropriate or not, but the reality is you discovered that you'd forgotten to look after them in some way, feed them, water them, whatever. Did it help you to feel bad about that? Did it make you, I mean, what you would do as a human, what you would do is you would feel compassion for them, and you would immediately feed and water them. And feeling bad about the fact that you hadn't done that didn't change that fact one bit. You would still do it. There was no point in feeling bad about it. It didn't achieve anything except to stress you out. And if that went on not long enough, it would make you sick perhaps, but it achieved nothing in terms of the consequences of the situation. You did what you had to do. At that time that you discovered it, you fixed it. That's feeling bad about it. Didn't achieve a thing. Except
it made me remember.
You would remember anyway. You would remember.
No.
You think you had to feel bad in order to remember? No.
Yes, strong emotions.
You tell yourself a story that you're less likely to forget because you felt bad, but I reckon you would remember anyway because you would know what happened. So you would remember.
Mm.
You didn't need to feel bad in order to remember.
If your memory is, Bianca, if there's still, it's bringing it all into the present time, there's a thought right now connected to a feeling of that memory. If it's coming up, it's pointing to something within you which was too painful at the time, too traumatic to really see the feelings that you experienced after the event, and that you had those thoughts about after the event. Of course, there's thinking about it, but there was a genuine, very painful sensations. And there's a suggestion, I'm just suggesting that if that memory comes up and you can already feel, oh, yeah, it happened, just give yourself some time to go into that and feel within yourself, and maybe it's where it takes you, but with compassion, because that part of you is had that, it's full of compassion and love, and then an accident happened, and so it's getting into that part where it was so painful. if the memory is repeating, it's pointing you in.
Yeah. So not feeling bad about it isn't feeling good about it. You're not going to feel good about it. But feeling bad about it, it's kind of a punishment you put on yourself because of it. Yeah. And certainly you, as a result of that, you would be less likely to allow it to happen again. Well, I say allow, that's not right. It would be less likely to happen again. But I suggest it would be less likely to happen again simply because you felt compassion as a result of recognizing what had happened to them. It almost takes us into a Christian thing or a Catholic thing about being inherently evil. You're not inherently evil. We're inherently compassionate people. You know, we want for everybody else what we want for ourselves. That's our nature. Our nature is not to be bad or evil. And we don't need to punish ourselves in order to not be bad or evil. That's just religious bullshit.
Rather than that I'm stupid.
Ah, shit happens. Shit happens. That's nature of life, isn't it? It does. You know, so stupid is a judgment you put on yourself. It can be described, something can be described as stupid, but that's different to saying I am stupid. You are not stupid. You might do stupid things, but you are not stupid.
Okay, I'm prone to doing stupid things.
Yeah, that could be accurate. Yeah. And if that's the case, it's not because you're a stupid person. It's because you are too busy trying to survive to be able to have the perspective where you can see things in a way that you don't do stupid things. So stupid people aren't stupid. They're not evil. They're not wrong. They're just too busy trying to survive, and so they miss things. People who
But also stupid people, I mean, in reference to what? Because normally, you know, oh, I'm so stupid, I shouldn't have done that and this, and I wish I could be, there has to be a sort of alternate reference point to point you to the fact that you consider, or somebody else considers, that you're stupid because you haven't, you know, in a workplace, you haven't got the problem, or, you know, you can't do this or you can't do that, and you say, oh, I'm so stupid, because you're just thinking that thinking that you should be otherwise, and you should already be, you know, more advanced in something, or less forgetful, or and it's not accepting. It's sort of sitting quietly with our true nature, and recognizing what this organism is capable of, how this organism is capable of performing, and or not. I'm caring for my husband, and I have a really good friend who's 20 years younger than me. She is a force of nature. She makes quick decisions. She's hyper intelligent, and recognizing things, and so super enthusiastic. I'm like, take things slowly. I get anxious sometimes moving my husband around because I don't want him to fall, and all these things, and they annoy him because he senses I'm a little bit on edge, but it's just the organism, it's the way it functions, and it's pointed to work I've had to do. But, and also the projections, because I know that he loves being with this younger woman, and actually she's taken him to his mother for 2 weeks, and I'm having 2 weeks of holiday. But there was an awful lot of work to do to see, you know, my redundancy, and about, yeah, that I'm useless because I you know, I can't even fulfill all the needs as easily as my friend. And then there was the whole thing, well, this is my friend, you know, and it was a strange threesome, but it was all pointing back to, you know, my limitations, as, you know, as being useless. But no, you know, I'm 20 years older, and I know what I'm capable of doing, and I try and do everything with an open heart, and she's just, yeah, you can't compare. So I don't know if that's helpful.
And as you're talking, you took me back to when I was a child, and my father used to say to me, in a fit of anger, he'd say to me, "You're useless, you're stupid." And I was so worried about that I did useless and stupid things.
Yeah.
So him calling me stupid was directly involved with me being stupid. Yeah. And now I must have been, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old at that time. I'd forgotten about that till you used that word useless, and it flooded back in. Yeah.
And even coming to these meetings is useless, a terrible waste of time. And so, yeah, there's no winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got to, you know, the nearest and dearest, he's got to unload on somebody. So.
Yeah. Just as there's no, if you take an apple, there is no inherent appleness in it. What it is a color and a shape and a taste and a smell and all those things. And we apply appleness to it with our mind. So that inherent characteristic of appleness isn't there. And there is no inherent characteristic of stupidness in anybody. It's only applied by the mind.
I'm sorry, I think we run out of time.
I guess we have. We've been going 3 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah. But yeah.
But I just wanted to say something about
Yes, you go.
how your dad called you stupid. And my parents always called me wise and clever and intelligent. When I was 12 years old, my brother was born. There was 12 years of age difference. And when he grew up a little, started talking, he was the only one in our family calling me stupid.
Huh.
Yeah, like a little child, yeah? You're stupid.
That's funny, isn't it?
And I realized I love him so much because he's the only person in the world that calls me stupid.
Mm.
And it's so dear to me.
Yeah. Would you say it was because he was real? he was being really honest and genuine with you?
Yes, and well, I don't know. I felt like he was seeing me for real, for who I am.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas your parents was telling you what they thought they wanted you to be.
Yes, like by saying you are so wise, so clever, you should be.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's a big responsibility, isn't it? You've got to try and live up to that. Wow. Yeah. Okay, well, let's call it a night, eh?
I just want to say
20 past
thanks to
midnight here.
everybody.
Sorry?
I just want to say thanks to everybody. It was really
Thank you, Sky.
meaningful
Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
and lovely to be with you all, and so much appreciated. So look forward to our next gathering.
Good one. Yeah. All right. See you all
Yeah.
later.
Thanks, you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.